Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to the house in Fata Morgana. After the last chapter, I had to take a break. I guess I should reiterate what I said about chapter 3. Yeah, I kinda got bored of chapter 3, but it's also a bad habit of mine when I feel uncomfortable reading something, or if I'm just feeling uncomfortable, I start to detach myself a lot more to the story. So that's why I kept saying, yeah, it's so boring. It's mostly like my own way of like not wanting to get attached to the characters. Like they did a pretty good job of showing what the characters are feeling. I can't deny that. So I don't want to undermine what happened in the story. It's just a bad habit of mine, you can say. But still, I really did not enjoy the story though. I did not enjoy chapter 3 as much. So I had to take a break. So here I am, playing this again. While I was not playing this, I played a Japanese visual novel. It's called Area 1. It's pretty interesting. It's not bad. But it's only in Japanese. I would love to play those type of games more on the channel, but I rarely play Japanese-only visual novels that are like not dark, and that one is quite dark. It's by Clock Up. The most popular series by Clock Up is Euphoria, along with what was the other one? Maggot Bates. So yeah, it has gore, it has lots of sex scenes. Definitely not your typical VN, but I am ranting, so excuse me. We should be focusing on Fata Morgana here. My friend told me to spend a few more hours after chapter 4 because there is something that's gonna happen. So I'm going to be recording like 2 episodes most likely after finishing chapter 4. But yeah, without further ado, hopefully chapter 4 won't be like chapter 3. The door before you slowly drew shut. You could no longer hear the raucous sounds of the men from within the den. The faint scent of cigarette smoke, however, lingered in the air. Staring vaguely at the closed door, you noticed something was amiss. The maid, who had been holding your hand, was no longer at your side. You glanced around, but she was nowhere in sight. Down the corridor stretched only darkness. Not having anticipated this, you were unsure how to react. After considering it for a few moments, you decided to explore the mansion on your own. Oh wow, that's a lot of choices. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. I guess this is where the choices that I make will differ. Master bedroom. Why would I go to the cellar? The den was the stuff that happened in chapter 3. The fireplace, I'm not sure. Rose garden. I'm gonna go to the master bedroom. You would think that you would want to call for the maid, but I don't really trust her after what happened in chapter 3. The door was locked, of course. You gave up on getting into the room and decided to go elsewhere. You know what? I'm gonna go see the stained glass window. There might be someone else there. Oh. Oh, sorry, my bad. I thought this was supposed to be the mirror. You approached the stained glass window. An array of pews was arranged facing the stained glass. There seemed to be an air of tranquility about the room. You sat down in one of the pews and stared quietly forward for some time. For For a moment, you felt like you were on the verge of recalling something, but ultimately, the memory never managed to surface. The mate did not appear to be there. Where could she have gone? You decided to resume exploring the mansion. I know for sure I'm not going to the Rose Garden. I don't like it there. I'm gonna go to the library. I feel like if I go to the Rose Garden, we're gonna find that stupid accessory that Mel made for us a long time ago. And it might make us think that we are actually the white-haired girl, which I do not want to think that we are. I'm gonna go to the library and then go to the cellar. The smell of dusty books filled the air of the library. You approach a shelf to examine one of the books. Ooh, that was scary. And suddenly, an avalanche of them came falling to the floor. You stared blankly at the mountain of books. They had fallen down on their own, but they showed no signs of putting themselves away. Since no one else was there to do it, you began placing the books back on the shelf. 1, 2, 3, a dozen. And as soon as you had gotten them all back up, they came crashing back down again. You wished very much to implore of the maid's assistance, but she did not appear to be in the area. Pretending you had not seen anything, you made your way back into the hallway. Nice job. I'm gonna go to the cellar. Chapter 2 so far has been my favorite chapter. I did not like Chapter 3. Chapter 1 was alright. When you descended into the cellar, you heard beast-like snarling. Along with it came a sour odor and the sound of ripping flesh. You could not see the beast, but that did not make it any less unpleasant. You made to retreat from the cellar. Definitely scary. But before you could, a shadowy creature lunged at you. You reflexively squeezed your eyes shut. After several moments, you open your eyes again to find a silhouette of a man standing in place of the beast. You and the shadow stared at one another for some time. You asked the shadow a question, and the shadow responded. However, you had no idea what it said. The shadow seemed to be trying to communicate something to you, trying to make sense of something you could not understand. Was pointless. Okay, I thought there was a dot after the something. Having no reason to remain in the cellar any longer, you made your way back upstairs. I'm not going to the Rose Garden. I'm gonna go to the fireplace. The maid would probably come if we just call for her, I would think. But I'm curious about the house. You made your way to the room with the fireplace. What remained of the fire crackled weakly, leaving the room in a veil of darkness. You remembered that you had awoken here. Out of sheer curiosity, you sat down in the rocking chair you had been asleep in. It was as soothing as a cradle to a baby, and in short order, you found your consciousness drifting from your grasp. Your eyes slowly slid open. Fragments of a pleasant dream lingered in the back of your mind. The crackling of a fire, the taste of warm wine. However, there was nothing pleasant about the fireplace sitting before you. No warm, crackling flames. In fact, the brisk air of the room overpowered the remnants of embers left there. A chill ran down your spine. Afraid you might freeze stiff if you stayed there much longer, you resumed your exploration of the mansion. You made your way to the mansion's entrance. There was no one around, nor any source of light. Groping through the darkness, you found the front door, which was sealed shut with a heavy bar. You pressed against the bar, but it remained firmly in place. The door did not budge either. It seemed you could not leave the mansion. When you made to step away from the entrance, you heard a muffled voice. You looked around, but were unable to determine the source of the voice. Nor could you be sure whom you had heard either. Giving up on finding anything in the entrance, you decided to head somewhere else. I do not want to go to any of these places, so I'm gonna try to go call for the maid. You tried calling for the maid. It was quiet. A sense of loneliness fell over you. Okay, I'm actually gonna save again. There's another choice to call the maid. I'm just gonna keep calling the maid, I think. I really don't want to go to the rose garden. Why would they give us the choice if there's nothing that's gonna happen, right? Is this just a fake choice? I'm gonna try 2 more times. Maybe there are specific times you have to do this. See, the music is gone. God damn it. Got baited. One last time. Okay, I guess she's not coming. The scent of cigarette smoke lingered in the den. However, the room was silent. Not even an echo of the men's chattering remained. Something was moving. Billiards balls. There was no one present to strike the balls. They rolled spontaneously around the table. The paths they traced across the surface were rough and erratic, contrasting that of when the former master had held the cue. The spheres collided awkwardly with one another, not a single one coming close to the pockets. As an experiment, you pulled the ball off the table. In response, the paths of the balls became even clumsier. Having lost one of their targets, they began bouncing aimlessly off the cushioned walls of the table. As you stared intently at the table, a man's voice rang out from somewhere in the room. Spinning around, you saw a silhouette of a man. However, you could not make out what the man was saying. The man thrust his finger at the table. He appeared to want you to return the ball. You reluctantly placed the billiards ball back on the table. When you did, the balls resumed endlessly colliding with one another, never landing in any of the pockets. You looked up to find the shadow gone. Having determined that the maid was not going to appear in the den, you exited the room, making your way back into the corridor. I still don't want to go to the rose garden. One last try. Oh boy. Though you could hear the sound of children laughing, you could not see them. Regardless, their cheerful voices warmed your heart. You decided to linger there in the garden for some time. Along with the children's laughs, wafted a sweet fragrance. The wind blew, whisking flower petals up into the air. It was an enchanting sight. But after a while, the roses began to wilt. You could no longer hear the children's voices either. A young man stood alone in the weathered rose garden. As you drew nearer, you called out to the youth. But the young man did not appear to notice you. He merely stood there, staring vacantly across the garden. The youth muttered something in a lifeless voice. You tried to call out to the young man several times, but he did not seem to hear you. He simply continued muttering to himself. Before long, the youth's shadow faded into nothing. Unable to bear the chilly air any longer, you stepped back into the mansion. You can go to the stained glass again. Man dismayed. You returned to the room with the stained glass window. You had searched throughout the mansion, but had no luck finding the maid. You felt somewhat tired though. You were not quite sure whether it was physical exhaustion or otherwise. You had little interest in doing any more moving about. Taking a seat in one of the pews, you gazed up at the stained glass. Staring solemnly down back at you was the archangel set to weigh the souls of the deceased. Perhaps he was trying to weigh your soul. Saying this, the maid took your hand. It was cold enough to send a shudder down your spine, and completely devoid of life. Though as chilling as it may have been, you still took comfort in the feeling of her hand in yours. The maid looked down at you with gentle eyes. After a few moments of silence, she sat down beside you. I feel like I already know what the overarching climax is gonna be. We're probably gonna be, like we see these memories, we can think of them as true memories, right? Because she did say this is a myriad of dreams or memories or whatever, right? That's what she said. So technically, we can fix the stuff that happened in the previous doors that we saw, right? I kind of don't want to do it though. I feel like the overarching climax is gonna be like the white-haired girl is gonna erase herself from all the timelines. And maybe then, what we'd see is like a beautiful ending or some sort. That's the feeling I get. It might not necessarily be true. But if there's a choice like that in the end, I'm gonna choose not to change the timeline. The last one? I didn't think this would be the last one. Holding your hand, the maid led you to the far end of the room. Crossing beneath the stained glass window, a metal door came into view. She pushed open the metal door, revealing a long spiral staircase. Rectangular windows were carved out of the stone in several locations along the way up the spiral staircase. You attempted to peer out one of the windows, but all you could see was a thick layer of fog. Perhaps the maid's suggestion that the mansion did not presently reside in reality was, in fact, correct. With each step upward, you found yourself gripped by an indescribable sense of anxiety. The feeling somewhat resembled irritation or annoyance. Sensing this, the maid tightly gripped your hand. You and the maid continued climbing the stairs. Up and up, around and around, marching ever nearer the supposed final door. High up into the tower, as the light from below drew distant, a rotten wood door came into view. Patches of what appeared to be blood stained the surface, and holes had been bored into it with sharp objects of some sort. You heard a scream from far below, where no one should have been. You were struck with fear. The next moment, the maid opened the door. And then... you slowly descended into darkness. Time for me to be quiet on the door stories. Wow, we actually went back in time compared to the previous ones. I'm gonna point this out, by the way. She's still named as the white-haired girl in her dialogue box. So when she said her name is Giselle, might have been a lie. She is. What a wow. Throughout this whole exchange, I've just been like, wow. What a selfish little brat. Each and every time, man, this girl. Well, maybe the first chapter was actually not bad. But every time after that, her love is so shallow. That's just from my perspective, though. If you think this is true love, then you're free to think so. No, that's impossible. His mom died. Sorry, I'm being too logical for a story that's about emotional feelings. Wait, that was chapter 4? That was so fast! Oh my gosh. Wait, what? Huh, I thought all the guys were actually reincarnations of Mikko. I think this maid is actually the witch, isn't she? It would make more sense, right? Yeah, of course. No, I still don't think I'm just Cell. I already know what to do. I'm not accepting her proposition. Like I said, even though what happened like in chapter 1, 2, and 3 were not the best options, I actually like the story. Sorry, girl. I always wondered why she had such affection towards the little girl, or the white-haired girl. Makes sense now. I might actually end the episode here though. I do have to take a short restroom break. But let me voice my thoughts at least. I guess the witch was quite envious of Mikko for having the white-haired girl by her side, right? And that's why she even made that proposition. And as you can see, she never made contact with Mikko again in each of the eras. To probably give her a sense of despair or dread and make her accept the proposition so they can both live eternally. So that the witch wouldn't be lonely, I guess. Makes sense to me. I do enjoy chapter 4 though. As much as annoying the white-haired girl was, it's definitely understandable that Mikko actually wanted to have someone with him rather than not. I personally would have sent her away though. But yeah, that was pretty nice. Chapter 4 was quite enjoyable. I actually feel quite sad about seeing their tragedy. But it is what it is. That's just how it was. I will take a short restroom break and continue on. I'm probably also gonna make coffee. Yeah, chapter 4 was enjoyable. So it moved like the story is sort of predictable, right? But I guess the story was not even trying to hide the fact that tragedy is gonna befall on like every era, on every door. So it's not like the focus of the story is at that part. So I guess I can let it slide. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys in a bit. And have a good day.